the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Ena na okopie mu ewo absa na enye asem kotoa ni nyina vice president na afi flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party Dr. Mamudu Bawumia de na nisuade hunu a opese odibu omaiga na ekokotu da initially na John Dramani Mahama ni NDC amanyokuo the 24-hour economy ye ba ya de se teachers licensure exams be ye free honom nya ade ababetu edwana Dr. Mamudu Bawumia speech a okoma no ebei no yewie a ye ne omanfo etwetwe nkomo like utimi say obi asem a okan say Dr. Mamudu Bawumia aka yakoma so ade etimi de amaye, and he is the man obetimi edi Ghana so na ye ne Guta Ghana Union of Traders Association if charity friend Guta President Dr. Joseph Obeng etwetwe nkomo e na woche say Dr. Mamudu Bawumia akasa e mana koma etimi atonye yem yenko ni nkotie Dr. Joseph Obeng.
From the room itself, for a start, I mean, it was such that anytime he brought up a policy proposal, you could see some people applauding. And I was speaking to some people after the presentation. All the people I spoke to seemed to suggest that, well, this is a well thought through presentation, one that speaks to the heart of whatever people like the traders have been speaking to in some time now. I mean, Dr. Joseph Obeng is here with me. We'll go straight to him. Doc, so earlier I spoke to you. You seem to really appreciate all that the Vice President did. You've been in the past speaking about taxes. The Vice President has spoken about the removal of e-levy. He's speaking about the removal of the emissions tax, the VAT on electricity, if that is still there. I mean, how do you see all of the things that the Vice President spoke about in his presentation? I'm
overly excited. This is exactly what I wanted to hear, and I heard it. It means that they have been listening to whatever pleas that we have been doing. The communication that we do with you on TV and all that is being listened to. And of course, it's all about he adopting compliance as a tool of revenue collection in his administration. And that is going to simplify tax collection system. That's why he's talking about flat rate, and that is going to even make duty payment flat rated, starting with spare parts. Why can't I be excited if this is what, after all these years we've said have been ahead of and being going to be adopted. So we are very excited. The fact that he said that invigilation should be the thing of the past in his administration, it means that he has also listened to a pleas by the invigilation by VAT, and that being in government now, I believe he is talking to GRA to stop those exercises. And that for us is very positive. And the fact that he is also saying that GRA should, in his administration, he will do post-class audit for 5 years. Yeah, that's for 5 yearly is okay, so that we can have the freedom and peace to, because we are not to be treated as common criminals when doing business, and that's 5 years is okay. What is happening now is 1 year, every 2 years they will come do postcards or they charge you some amount to pay and all that, and that does not augur well. So what he says is that he's going to expand the tax net. He said that because that's why he started with the 10 number and all that, and that has captured a lot of capable taxpayers who are outside the tax net, and that is what he's going to use to make taxes affordable so that everybody will pay. That's what I understood, and that he says that he's going to make things very flat. When you do that, it means that he's going to take away all the leakages in the tax system. And this is what we have drummed over and over and over, that when you do your the duty flat, it means that nobody is going to take advantage, the custom officer or the agent or even the trader, because we all know that this is the flat rate that we have to pay.
So you're saying that after listening to the flag bearer, you are convinced that going forward, things will be cheaper for us, I mean the consumers.
Yeah, it means that if he's able, in case he wins, he wins power, and then he adopts it, because we know that this is feasible, this is workable. It's not rocket science. These things that we've said is what other countries have done, and they are being highly competitive in the market. We are very uncompetitive because of the high rates of duties that we pay. And he might have recognized that and said that he's going to simplify things for us. He's going to make things flat rated for us, so that affordability, and then expand the tax net. This is all that we have been saying all this time. And so it's very important that, because it's very good that a leader should listen to what his people. That's all democracy is about. And I'm overly excited, and I believe that all the other political parties should also go on the same tangent, and then know the needs of the business community and structure their policies around that.
But I mean, in the next 30 seconds, you believe that if he assumes power, he is able to do that? He will be able to do all that?
He was able to establish some credibility, because he said that when they came to power, he was able to do this, and that they removed the nuisance taxes and all that, because they wanted to move from taxation to production. And so they did well for the first term. But on the second term, because of the COVID and this Ukraine war and all that, they had challenge. So he has said where he was doing well and where he had the challenge. And then he also took his time to itemize those things that he has done in the digitization, that every Ghanaian know that it is working. And so for that reason, you know that there's credibility in what he's saying. And this is what I wish that all other political parties should now take us, because I believe this year's election is going to be intellectual based. Anybody who go on the insult is gone. It's not going to. So it shouldn't be personalized or even politicized. That I'm in this party. Let's listen to them and see the messages that carry the meat, and then we go for it. And so I'm very excited the way things are going. Because don't forget that only last week I also I was at the Afrofanto movement, butterfly movement, or whatever, I don't know, and their dialogue, economic dialogue, and so we do that. And he's saying that this is not his manifesto, so we are going to engage him to add more, and so that the manifesto will be rich, so that they can make it as a whole policy. To the benefit of the Ghanaian business community.
All right. Evan, so there you heard it. I mean, traders are very okay with what the Vice President put forth today. Let's see how in the coming days the discussions will be.
Loudly, that I did not support this when it came to cabinet and there was a debate. The economic management team, if it did, and I expect that there's a huge tax handle like this will definitely come to the economic management team, I chaired it, and somehow I was still overruled. How? That screams a lot when he makes that declaration. For a policy that is still being implemented, Vice President says, when you give me the chance, I will abolish it. But he says the tone at the top, didn't he? When he says, well, I am the driver's mate now, and I'm looking for the Monday to be my own man, and when I get that authority, I will abolish something that is currently being implemented under my watch.
I see it this way also. And so the Vice President, when he was talking about his tax system, tax reform, talks about how it's estimated that, how much we do not get to collect is in excess of some 13% of GDP. That's about $24 billion, over 240 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, so he's talking about putting in place measures to be able to collect all of these. And that's why he's introducing a flat rate for SMEs and all of that. And we have said all the time, that where there's a favorable tax regime, people do not avoid or people do not evade. So I hear him saying, this is what I intend to do. And based on that, so when he creates fiscal space, now e-levy, he wants to create a fiscal space of, for instance, 3% of GDP. And if we're looking at GDP for 2024, which is expected to be about the total output, expected to be about some 1 trillion. then 3%, you're looking at some 30 billion. Currently, e-levy will be raking in less than 3 billion Ghana cedis. So that means that if you do all of these things, you would have enough revenue, okay? You have enough space and would not need e-levy. He's talked about a lot of cost-cutting measures. He's talked about running a lean government. He's talked about a lot of other things which he believes would help the government. So all of these things will lead to the abolishing of the e-levy. But this is the point also. The vice president has consistently shied away from the e-levy conversation.
Yeah.
And that would give an indication that he may not have been in support of it. But of course, it wouldn't have made sense earlier to go out there to say, I am not in support of it. His action today would suggest, you can reasonably infer, that he was not in support of it. And some of the things that he's not in support of, he wants to say, he now says, I would abolish them. But this is the other point also. In doing so, because he's talking about creating space, cutting down a lot of things, which would free a lot of expenditure, that would make sense, because if you have all of these things, then you can move on and say, I don't need to, for instance, burden people with a 15% VAT on electricity.
No, but that particular intervention, he says he will implement if the 15% is still on VAT in 2025, raises fundamental questions. As we know, it was part of the IMF program. Proposals that we put before the IMF. And this program is different from what we used in the past when the IMF dictated to us and we had to negotiate. This is bring your own program. Tell us what you want to do to achieve these set targets, fiscal targets, etc. And then we discuss if indeed they will deliver on that, then you go ahead and implement. So in other words, a 15% VAT is what government went to the IMF with. Now, it begs the question. It must have come through cabinet.
It did.
It must have gone through the economic management team, which he chairs. It must have. Let's assume he didn't even go to that. It must have come through cabinet. He definitely was in cabinet when he saw this particular one go through, right? Before it was passed. People ask the question, but why didn't you do enough to stop it there? Why wait till 2025 when a lot of people would have suffered as a result of that, possibly dragged more people into poverty because they are paying 50% on VAT, etc. When that question is asked of him, and that question will be asked tomorrow, I'm sure you'll be asking that question on the Super Morning Show, on PMS, I'll be asking, what's the most, it's a difficult question, but what's the most plausible answer to that?
Because I'll be asking the question.
You don't want to,
I don't want to answer the question.
but that's a big one.
Yes.
Because this is something that the government went to the IMF with.
I can actually join you in, adding further to that and
more
saying,
questions
to that and saying, so at what point in time did you realize that this was a bad one? Was it when he was going to Parliament? Couldn't you have done anything to stop it? Is it going to be business as usual to say, I was the driver's mate and I wasn't the man in charge, and so now I want to do this? Well, let's see what the response is.
And it's also fair then to ask, okay, so because of what he says about e-levy, that he's abolished, and the conclusion there is very obvious that I didn't support this when it came to cabinet and the economic management team, it's fair to then ask him, okay, so we understand you're not the boss, so you don't have the final say. You can scream and kick all you want. If the boss said that's what I want, eventually you have to play ball or you resign, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you stayed in. If you stayed in, so what did you do to oppose it? And how far did you go? When, especially in the case of the 15%, because it was our proposal, when that document came before cabinet, did he see it? What did he do specifically to oppose it and to raise the challenges this will pose to the people? Or this was something that was sneaked in the end? I mean, those are questions that...
Did he, for instance, inform the president when he told the president? Because he's the driver's mate, so he would have discussions with the driver.
Yeah.
Was his argument solid enough to have convinced the president? Did he propose some of the things he's proposing now to the president, that we can actually do these and create enough fiscal space? So you want to know whether all of these things happened and were they solid arguments? Did the president refuse all of these?
I want to take us right now to the premises of the UPSA, where Dr. Bawumia just finished addressing the country. I want to bring in my colleague Kojo Brace, who's having an interaction with the Director of Communications for the MPP, Mr. Ahiagba.
That if we make Bawumia the president, this Mineral Development Bank will come in and will give us the opportunity to be able to exploit and leverage our resources for our benefit.
But you agree with me that same happened with the $1 million per constituency? Sources of the sources of funds. So it's right, we have to find out where are the funds coming from? We have to understand it from now to be able to make a good judgment.
Well, if you keep asking that question, then I can tell you that you have doubts in your mind about what is possible. It is possible. You must have the right dream, and he has a doing this, and you agree that having a mineral development bank is a good idea. And if it's a good idea, we have the minerals, we can leverage our minerals to generate the revenue to be able to do that.
But the $1 million per consultant was a good idea, but you couldn't do it.
Well, those are two different things. And these are two different leaders who are pointing forward with a new vision. And we believe that with this, look, you see the 1 million, one constituency, people keep saying that it didn't materialize, but it did materialize. It only didn't materialize in the form people expected. The people were thinking that 1 million would be given to the MP or to a constituency, but it was managed through the Special Initiative Ministry to create and invest in infrastructure projects.
Like
that
what?
was done. Oh, but you are aware of all the special.
Those KVIPs are still there, not uncompleted. Yeah.
You are the journalist. You have go and investigate and find the result. I told you. You know about the one constituency, one ambulance is part of that. That is there. So let's talk about it. If there are challenges, let's talk about it. But the initiative was carried out, and I think that we can intensify and make sure that initiative continues to help. But it is nothing to compare with the new vision that Bawumia is bringing, which is to create a mineral development bank to help us leverage and benefit as a country from our mineral resources.
Richard, I'm grateful to you, sir, for coming. Well, so let's bring in the trades, those people who are involved in the business world. And let me bring in someone who is really, when it comes to importation, it plays a key role there. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Why, you don't know the name?
Oh, no. I know. I just want us to go straight to this conversation. Now, you heard him talk about the ports, how they want to make business, they want to
As Kojo Brace having an interaction with the CIBID, who represents the importers and exporters there. And you want to join us at 9 p.m. tonight, but also on the Supermorning.